You know that feeling when your phone rings late at night and your heart skips a beat? What if the name on the screen was someone who's been dead for years? Today, we're diving into 5 chilling real-life stories of phone calls from the dead. Calls that were received long after the person on the other end had passed away. Were they ghostly goodbyes, glitches in the Matrix, or something even more terrifying? And hey, before we begin, drop a comment below if you've ever experienced something unexplainable involving technology. We might feature your story in the next video. The call from Charles Peck. The man who died before he dialed this case is legendary, not just among ghost hunters, but among actual first responders. Round push pin the background. In 2008, a Metrolink commuter train collided with a freight train in Los Angeles. 25 people were killed, including Charles Peck. But here's where it gets weird. Charles's phone kept calling. Not once, not twice, but over 35 times to his fiancée, son, stepmother, brother, and sister. And when they answered, all they heard was static or complete silence. The calls continued for hours, even helping authorities trace the wreckage site faster. But when they finally reached him, they discovered Charles had died on impact. He'd been dead the entire time. Thinking face, was it his spirit trying to reach his loved ones? A freak cell tower error? Or something beyond comprehension? Speech balloon, let me know in the comments. If your loved one called after they died, would you answer? Movie camera fun fact. This story inspired several horror films and was even mentioned on Paranormal Witness. It's also eerily similar to phenomena reported in military disaster zones. The grandmother who called from her own funeral, this one comes from Reddit, and it's been verified by multiple family members involved. Telephone receiver, the story goes like this. A woman receives a phone call in the middle of the night. The caller ID shows it's her grandmother, except her grandmother had passed away earlier that week. The family was actually preparing for her funeral that same morning. And the weirdest part? When she answered the call, a soft, whispery voice said, "Don't be sad. I'm okay now. Take care of your mother." Then the line went dead. The call came from the grandmother's old landline number, which had already been disconnected by the phone company. Ghost was a closure from beyond? Brain theories. A residual haunt. Spirits replaying emotional messages on loops. Quantum imprinting, where intense emotions burn messages into technology. Or just a weird phone glitch timed a bit too perfectly. Loudspeaker comment below if you've ever received a message that felt like it was meant for you, but you didn't know from who. The man who called from his grave. Literally another case reported in the UK. This one comes from a woman named Sandra who lost her husband, Ken, to cancer in 2011. 1 year later, on the anniversary of his death, she received a voicemail on her landline. The voice? Undeniably Ken's. Not just a phrase or two, but a full minute-long message. He spoke in a calm, familiar tone, saying things like, "I'm okay. Don't worry about me. Just remember I love you." The kicker? Ken had never used the landline. He always used his mobile. And when they checked the phone records, the call was never registered. It never happened, according to the telecom provider. Studio microphone Ken's voice was captured, but the call never happened. Skull and Crossbones. Now, here's the creepy twist. Paranormal investigators later claimed that Ken had been trying to reach through frequencies from the other side, and that landlines, with their analog wiring, are far easier to manipulate than modern digital systems. Lightbulb, did you know? Thomas Edison once theorized a spirit phone, a device to communicate with the dead. Some claim it's already been built, and it's hiding in plain sight in old landlines. The 9/11 voicemail that shouldn't exist, this one is real, and it's heavy. After the attacks on September 11th, 2001, thousands of phones rang out, went dead, or left behind tragic messages. But one voicemail still baffles people. A woman named Liz received a voicemail from her husband, who had been on the 105th floor of the North Tower. The call came in hours after the tower had collapsed. Telephone receiver, the message. "Liz, it's me. I am okay. I'm in a strange place. It's quiet. I can't see anyone, but I'm not hurt. I think I'll see you soon." Then static. Investigators tried tracing the origin and couldn't find a source. There was no record of a call ever being made. The timestamp was posthumous. Bust in silhouette, some theorists say it was a pre-recorded message bouncing between damaged towers, finally landing hours later. Others claim it was a spiritual imprint, echoing through the tragedy. Fire, do these moments of intense trauma open a bridge between worlds? The suicide pact that didn't end this one is dark, so viewer discretion advised. Two best friends in college made a suicide pact. One went through with it, the other didn't. The surviving friend, Jamie, later reported receiving texts and phone calls from her dead friend's number for months. The messages weren't threatening. They were mostly one-line texts. "I'm still here. Why did you leave me? Finish what we started." And on several occasions, Jamie claims the calls would come in late at night, but when she answered, all she heard was sobbing. Phone company records showed that the number had been deactivated days after the death. There were no outgoing calls, no texts, but Jamie had screenshots and a paper trail. Eventually, she changed her number. But even then, the calls continued from private numbers. Some say grief plays tricks on the brain. Others believe unfinished spiritual contracts can reach beyond death. But here's a disturbing detail. Jamie now works as a mental health counselor for teens struggling with suicide. Speech balloon, could her friend be reaching out not just for her, but for those she now helps? Ending, final thoughts and speculation. So, what do we make of these calls? Brain, are they signs from the afterlife? Emotional hallucinations? Or echoes bouncing off the fragile edges of time and space? In an age where AI can mimic voices and phones are basically tiny computers, it's easy to shrug some of this off. But many of these stories, they happened before smartphones, before deep fakes, and way beyond the reach of explanation. Microphone, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe the dead can reach out? Have you ever gotten a call or message that couldn't be explained? Drop it all in the comments. And if this kind of eerie, unexplained content gives you chills in all the right ways, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a message from the other side.